Welcome to the most dangerous planet in the universe.
We just learned so much about Predator Badlands from a bloody disgusting set visit, as well as learning that the rating for this one is likely going to be PG-13. Is that a movie-ruining rating, or is there something a lot more interesting happening here? Let's talk a little bit about it. Hey everybody, I'm Killjoy Jake, and instead of having friends, I have horror movies. If you're hyped up for Predator Badlands just like me, then make sure to subscribe to this page for more updates like this in the future. Also, the best way to support this page is by becoming a channel member or Patreon supporter, where you'll get an extra review video each week. Members also get to screen my new short film, Brahmin Synthetic, early this month. Thank you all for your support. Now let's get into this. Recently, Predator Badlands, the highly anticipated new live-action feature from Yautja Maestro, Dan Trachtenberg, had its final trailer debut. It pulls back the curtain on the most dangerous planet in the galaxy that our focal predator Dek will travel to. At least he has a broken Weyland-Yutani synthetic to hang out with, or should I say, carry like a backpack the entire time, played by Elle Fanning.
But you gotta have friends.
Stop! In this final trailer, we also got some more shots of some horrifying aliens, poisonous flora, and the Weta-created arsenal Dek will use to fight the dangers of this forbidden planet. There's a few creatures that caught my eye here, especially this octopus-looking fella swinging through the trees. He kind of looks like the father of that alien Earth eyeball parasite. Damn it, Bobby, what did I tell you about climbing into a lamb's head by pulling out its eyeball and then taking over its corporeal form?
That boy ain't right.
Some other new creatures we were able to spot were these dollar store Lord of the Rings elephants that have their face split in half, that's cool, and these alien pterodactyl-looking motherfuckers that kind of look like the winged flyers that the Na'vi fly on in Avatar. We also learned recently that Dek is trying to kill the Kalisk, which I think is this creature here that we saw in the original trailer. At least it matches its big bad behemoth description. I cannot wait to see our little guy here fight this thing. Speaking of Dek, this movie is super ambitious in the fact that it's following what is usually the alien antagonist going up against the human hero. This time around, we watch as a shunned member of his alien family tries to prove himself with the odds against him. I'm pretty sure that's all going to be established in scenes like this, where we're watching as an older predator, likely Dek's father, is casting him out to this wasteland of a planet. In the past, we've seen predators of all shapes and sizes, but Dek is essentially the black sheep of his warrior family. He's the smallest and seemingly youngest sibling, he's blind in one eye, and even appears to have a deformed mandible. He's seen as weak by his clan, but this is just another obstacle for him to potentially overcome. I think this is going to be a really triumphant movie where we're all just screaming by the end of it. Dek is played by Demetrius Schuster Kolamatanji, who says of the complex character, since he's smaller, he's a lot more agile. He's very quick, but smaller and at a disadvantage. That's a part of his defective nature, being one eye and smaller than the rest. It's just more obstacles for him to overcome. He's always been thought of as less by his people and his culture. He's pretty much shunned. Having less vision makes him more of a threat because it's like, I've got to push through this. I've got to get to the other side, and I'm going to prove everyone wrong. Did I already say this movie's gonna feel triumphant? Oh, hell yeah, baby. Roll on November 7th. Offsetting that with a goofy android character is going to give this movie some much needed reprieve. Director Dan Trachtenberg said of this focal relationship, my pitch was that it was like Chewbacca and C-3PO the movie. You have a loquacious main character and we're along with a very quiet helper. In this movie, you're linked to the helper. So it's the opening sequence and he's being very overwhelmed with what he's dealing with. He's up against things that are way crazier than we've ever seen a predator deal with before. The other thing I love in movies and that I think really links you to characters is seeing them try. The secret sauce of the Mission Impossible franchise is that Tom Cruise is not James Bond, who can handle everything with grace. He's failing constantly. The fun of him is always floundering through whatever the sequence is, but then being awesome. There's a lot of failure for him, but then he awesomely overcomes. We also learned a little more about Elle Fanning's dual role in this film, why she's playing two different synthetics that look exactly alike. Badlands producer Ben Rosenblatt clarifies that she was sent with a counterpart, a partner synth, who's named Tessa. This all takes place way in the future, after everything that we know from the universe of Alien and Weyland-Yutani and Predator. This is the farthest out that it's gone. The mission is led by more combat militaristic synths, and on the research end, driven by these two research synths who are more about observing the planet, understanding it so that they, Weyland-Yutani, can harvest what they can from it and create all the terrifying things they do. First of all, dude, that is such a good motivation to get these kinds of characters into this story. That is so consistent and in line with where the Alien franchise's timeline ultimately goes. Weyland-Yutani just becomes this more and more evil, gigantic corporation. Of course, they would be looking for an even more terrifying monster out in the galaxy once they get bored of the xenomorph. I doubt we'll even see one of those in this film, and maybe that's weirdly a good thing. We also got this shot in the trailer, which is likely those attack synths, so not the research kind. With all of these very cool sounding ideas being jam-packed into the film, we did get some odd news yesterday though. It seems like Badlands is going to be rated PG-13, which outside of Alien vs. Predator, all of the Predator movies are rated R. Ben Rosenblatt defended this by saying, "We don't have any humans in this movie, and so we don't have any human red blood. We're hoping that's going to play to our advantage," which is a way of answering your question, how hard are we going to go? We're going to go as hard as we possibly can within those constraints, and we think we'll be able to do some pretty awesomely gruesome stuff, but colors other than red. This is pretty much the same reason why Paul W.S. Anderson's Alien vs. Predator was also given the PG-13 rating, but considering the fact that there are humans in that film, it feels a little disappointing anytime those characters get killed. I love Alien vs. Predator, but it probably would be a little better if it was rated R. And, you know, also just too dark to see. I wish that movie existed somewhere. Most of the blood, however, is acid blood, well, more specifically, green blood. The MPA infamously cares more about the blood of real people rather than fictional unearthly creatures. With all of the characters in this film either being synthetics, predators, or horrifying monsters, we have a very unusual situation here that could be a game-changing boundary pusher. My hope here is that since everybody is either an alien or a robot, this is basically an R-rated film wearing the skin of a PG-13 horror flick. It'll truly be a game changer for both of these franchises if they're able to deliver something that is way more brutal than AVP. That oddly has me more excited for this film rather than it just being rated R. I want to see how far it can push that PG-13 rating. It's evident from that final trailer that there is going to be a lot of creature fighting and maybe even a little reference to the ending of Aliens. In what looks like an even more futuristic exosuit, it looks like Deck is going to climb into this thing to then fight the Callisk. He's not so small anymore. Seems like that fight is going to rage on into the next morning though, as we can see it's destroyed in this next shot here. But hold on now, then it looks like Deck is cutting this thing's stomach open, which probably means it would be dead. Right? Really hope the trailer didn't just spoil the ending of this movie. Point being here, however, there's going to be a lot of violence, that's for sure. With all of this crazy new info coming out about the film, I just cannot wait for November 7th. This is gonna be a major banger. We've also learned that 2 days before Badlands' theatrical release, 2022's straight-to-streaming Prey will play in theaters as an early double feature with the new film. This will be an exclusive event to AMC theaters on November 5th. So if you want to see Badlands early and Prey in theaters for the first time, make sure to pick up your tickets like as soon as humanly possible. What do you guys think about Predator Badlands? Are you foaming at the mouth over this epic just like I am? Let me know down in the comments below. Thank you all again for watching. Please subscribe, and as always, don't forget to kill it out there, y'all.